prison reforms and protection of life and personal liberty of inmates. A petition was filed before the Supreme Court to issue necessary directions relating to reform of prisons in the country and for protection of the right to life and personal liberty of the inmates granted under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Prison reforms have been the subject matter of discussion and decision rendered by the Supreme Court from time to time over the last 35 years. Unfortunately, even though Article 21 of the Constitution requires a life of dignity for all persons, little appears to have changed on the ground as far as prisoners are concerned, and once again it is required to deal with issues relating to prisons in the country and their reform. It is clear that in spite of several orders passed by the Supreme Court from time to time in various petitions for one reason or another, the issue of overcrowding in jails continues to persist and, apart from anything else, appears to have persuaded Justice R.C. Lahoti to address a letter of the Chief Justice of India on this specific issue of overcrowding in prisons. The prisoners, like all human beings, deserves to be treated with dignity. To give effect to this, some positive directions need to be issued by the Supreme Court. The Under Trial Review Committee in every district should meet every quarter, and the first such meeting should take place on or before 31st March 2016. The Secretary of the District Legal Services Committee should attend each meeting of the Under Trial Review Committee and follow up the discussions with appropriate steps for the release of under trials prisoners and convicts who have undergone their sentence or are entitled to release because of remission granted to them. The Under Trial Review Committee should specifically look into aspects pertaining to effective implementation of Section 436 of the Code of Criminal Procedure and Section 436A of the Code of Criminal Procedure so that under trial prisoners are released at the earliest, and those who cannot furnish bail bonds due to their poverty are not subjected to incarceration only for that reason. The Under Trial Review Committee will also look into issue of implementation of the Probation of Offenders Act 1958, particularly with regard to first-time offenders, so that they have a chance of being restored and rehabilitated in society. The member secretary of the State Legal Services Authority of every state will ensure, in coordination with the secretary of the District Legal Services Committee in every district that an adequate number of competent lawyers are impaneled to assist under trial prisoners and convicts, particularly the poor and indigent, and that legal aid for the poor does not become poor legal aid. The Secretary of the District Legal Services Committee will also look into the issue of the release of under trial prisoners in compoundable offenses, the effort being to effectively explore the possibility of compounding offenses rather than requiring a trial to take place. The Director General of Police, Inspector General of Police in charge of prisons should ensure that there is proper and effective utilization of available funds so that the living conditions of the prisoners is commensurate with human dignity. This also concludes the issues of their health, hygiene, food, clothing, rehabilitation, etc. The Ministry of Home Affairs will ensure that the management information system is in place at the earliest in all the central and district jails as well as jails for women so that there is better and effective management of the prison and prisoners. The Ministry of Home Affairs will conduct an annual review of the implementation of the Model Prison Manual 2016, for which considerable efforts have been made not only by senior officers of the Ministry of Home Affairs but also persons from civil society. The Model Prison Manual 2016 should not be reduced to yet another document that might be reviewed only decades later, if at all. The annual review will also take into consideration the need, if any, of making changes therein. The Under Trial Review Committee will also look into the issues raised in the Model Prison Manual 2016, including regular jail visits as suggested in the said manual.